Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally bringing you my worst of 2021. I've already filmed this video and the audio was so bad in that video, I had to refilm it. It was just too bad. And now I have one of these little clip-ons, one of my amazing followers. You know who you are. I wish I could call you by name because I can't find that comment so I can give her credit. But she suggested one of the little clip-on mics and it was genius. It was like $25 on Amazon and I am so grateful. I want to start this video off by saying any of the products that I discuss in today's video, if they are your favorite or there's something that you love, please don't take offense to it. Just know that makeup is so subjective and things that I like, you may not like, and things that you like, I may not like. Makeup is makeup, and I like to review high-end makeup. And the reason why I like to review high-end makeup is I like to give it straight. I'm very blunt and I tell it like it is. And if there's a product that I don't like, you're going to know I don't like it. And I feel like with luxury makeup in particular, it's really nice to have that blunt, this is just junk, you don't need it, right? Because luxury makeup is so expensive and I want to make sure that you guys know what you're getting into when you spend your hard-earned money, especially on luxury makeup. And so I'm very blunt. I'm going to say it very bluntly. And yes, I'll probably go off on tangents and I'll try to cut some of them out. So this whole video is going to be about something I don't like. It's always so uncomfortable to film these kind of videos. But they're also so helpful, right? So they're necessary at the end of the day. So just know that I like to be a positive person, but if there's something I don't like it, and I'm going to tell you straight up. So let's go ahead and jump straight into my least favorite of luxury makeup of 2021. Okay, so I'm going to first start with complexion. I'm going to start with foundations and concealers that just didn't cut it. The first two products I want to talk about are very similar, so I'm going to kind of clump them together. This one isn't really available to buy. This is from BECCA. I think this was one of their last launches that they did, but this was the Light Shifter Dewy Tint. Terrible. And this kind of is the exact same thing. So I'm going to kind of clump them together. This is the Huda Beauty GLOWISH Multi-Dew Skin Tint. So the problem that I have with these types of products is it's just too much highlight. So as I'm getting older, you know, my pores are getting bigger, my wrinkles are really becoming more pronounced. And when I apply products like these that have just too much highlight, they're going to emphasize my pores. They're going to emphasize my wrinkles. And it makes me actually look older. And it emphasizes all the things that I don't want emphasized. So I just don't like it. So they give you like the highlight and the coverage, but it's too much highlight. It's just way too shimmery for my face. And I just don't like it. So had to kind of bring these out. And I will say the same goes for the powder. This was like putting highlighter on my face and it just looked so bad. And I go back to when I reviewed it and I put that swipe on and I was like, wait, what was that? It was so bizarre how much highlight this actually has in it. It's just way too shimmery for my face. Now I could see somebody, my daughter who is almost 19, this would be gorgeous on her skin. It would give such a beautiful light. And it does kind of reflect from the light. For me, being in my early 40s, it's just not flattering on my skin and I just can't do it. I can't. I've tried and I can't do those super shimmery products. The next product I want to talk about is this from Westman Atelier. This I really, really had high hopes for. In fact, I think I have another one. I think I bought 3 shades in this. And here's the thing about this Westman Atelier. This is for that woman that doesn't really need a lot of coverage. Maybe they just need a little bit of spot concealing, because I understand Gucci Westman's approach to this product. This product isn't really a full foundation. It's more of like evening out the complexion. It doesn't really give you a lot of coverage, right? And for me being someone, when I wear makeup, I want to wear makeup and I want to wear a foundation that's going to at least give me a light to medium coverage. And this does, but you have to apply a lot of it. The problem with this foundation is that when you put it on, I bought so many different shades trying to get stuff to work. So this is 9 and this is 10. And there's a big jump between them, by the way. 9 definitely matched my skin the best, I think. Like you can see it blended out. This is for that person that wants to add just a little bit and buff it in. Add a little bit and buff it in and kind of even out the complexion. It's not really for someone who wants foundation on, right? For me, it feels more like a concealer because if I wear it like a foundation, like if I put it all over the face, it will lift and completely separate within hours because it is quite emollient based. So this to me, it's almost like if you have something underneath that kind of evens out your complexion and then putting this over top is probably the best way to wear it. But I just don't love it. And it's crazy expensive for what it is. I think it's just, I understand Gucci Westman's philosophy behind creating the product, but it just doesn't meet my needs when it comes to foundation. So it's a pass for me. Let's talk about this one from Fenty Beauty. So this is the Eavesdrop, and I think for this, you're either going to love it or hate it. I feel like there's really no in-between when it comes to this foundation because there's a specific way that you have to apply this in order to really make it work, and I just haven't found that way. I remember having this discussion with Mel. When she first tried it and actually reviewed it, she didn't like it. And then she continued to wear it and continue to wear it, and then I think she tried it on her daughter. I think her daughter was getting ready for a dance or something, and so she thought this would be great because it's so lightweight and it doesn't really have a lot of coverage. So she tried it on her daughter, and she was like, wait, this looks really beautiful on you. And as she kept continuing to wear it, fell in love with it. And I've heard a lot of people having that experience with this Eavesdrop from Fenty Beauty. For me, I just haven't found that way to make it work. I haven't found that right application, and it just does not look good on my skin. It kind of balls up and gets a little bit weird. So for me, the Eavesdrop is still a pass, and I'm not a fan. The other one I wanted to talk about is this one from Lisa Eldridge. And here's the thing. I know so many people that love this foundation from Lisa Eldridge. It's almost, again, if you love it, you love it. And it's like your number one. I've heard so many people say that this is their number one favorite foundation of 2021. And when they're going somewhere special, this is what they're going to reach for. So I want to make that clear. My opinion on this foundation doesn't seem to be the masses. Like, people are loving this. So, but for me, this is too drying. And no matter how I try to make this work, it's too drying. And it gets kind of crusty and stuff around my mouth. And, you know, if you've watched my foundation reviews, that you've heard me say that how I know a foundation will work is how it wears right here. And if it looks bad in this area, it's just not gonna, it's gonna be a no-go for me. And that's how this foundation is. I try to apply the lightest amount and really spread it as far as I can because I do think that it has great coverage, so you really don't need a lot of it. But it's just too drying for my skin. And I will reach for it during the summer when I'm not, you know, this winter I've been a little bit more drier than normal because normally I'm more normal. I'm dry normal is kind of where I'm at. I'm never combo. But, you know, for me, it's just too drying. So I will reach for it again in the summer when it's not so dry outside and see if my skin likes it more. But during the winter, it was just an absolute no-go. Every time I wore it, it just made me look older, emphasized wrinkles, it stuck to dry patches. It just didn't wear very good. And it's just not my favorite. The other one I want to talk about is this one from YSL. This is the new, this is the Bare Look Tint. I love the Touche Éclat. This is the Fresh Dewy Makeup. This is a really beautiful kind of natural everyday type of dewy, like when I'm more dry, this is really beautiful. So I was kind of excited when I saw this. I was thinking, ooh, it's maybe going to be a better version of it. For me, it's not. It's so light coverage that I really feel like I'm kind of blending it and putting more on, and I just don't like to have to build up that much coverage. So then I'll go in with a concealer first and kind of fix my coverage and then go in with this. And I just don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way it wears. I feel like for me, this is a way better option than the new. I don't really understand why they needed this because it didn't, in my opinion, match up to this. So this one from YSL, not a fan of. Let's move on to concealer. I have to talk about this Tom Ford. I have to. When I first reviewed this, it was the rave. Everybody was raving about this Shade and Illuminate concealer from Tom Ford. And don't get me wrong, I really liked the foundation. So I was excited about the concealer, even though it was $90 and it's still the most expensive concealer I've bought. But I was excited to try it because I really liked the Shade and Illuminate foundation. So I first bought the shade 4W1 Sand. Well, actually, that's not true. I bought a different shade. It was too dark. So I actually went in store and swatched in Nordstrom's and bought and exchanged for this shade. This is the 4W1 Sand. And I had a few people say, you know, Tara, that shade might be too dark for you. And maybe if you got a different shade, you might like it after I put up my review. Because it is more of my skin tone, kind of. So I thought, well, maybe that's true. Maybe if I got a different shade, maybe I would like it. So I went ahead and bought the shade. I know I'm nuts, but I'm trying to figure out the rave. So I went ahead and bought the shade 2WO Beige, okay? And this is quite light. It's a little bit lighter than I prefer, so I mixed them, okay? This emphasizes every wrinkle I have. What I also don't like about it is it lifts from the under eye. So it's like you can see it setting on the skin. It never goes down into the skin and kind of combs your skin. There's a lot of great concealers out in the market, and this one is just way too shiny. First of all, the shine kind of emphasizes the wrinkles because it kind of like draws you in, but it sets on my skin. That's my biggest complaint. No matter how I apply it, no matter what I put under it, no matter what tool I use, I cannot get this to blend into my skin to save my life. It sets on top of the skin in the weirdest way. And what's also interesting is that when this first kind of hit the scene and everybody was raving about it, when I would see pictures of other people, I would know right away that was the concealer they were wearing. And I just think that some people are okay with it, the way that it kind of sets on the skin. And I'm just not one of those people. I like my foundation and my concealer to blend into my skin. And this sets on the skin and it never blends into it. Drives me bonkers. And within hours, it starts to do this like separation where it will like pull away from the under eye in the worst way. Oh, it's bad. It's bad. It's not, in my opinion, it's not worth $20. Completely wasted my money. Let's talk about this really fast. So this is from MERCIER. This is their Secret Camouflage Brighten and Correct Duo. And I have got it in two different shades. So this is the 4 Warm and 3 Warm. What it does is it brightens and corrects at the same time. So you can use it to kind of brighten the under eye, and you can also use it on the skin to kind of cover up, you know, any imperfections that you have. Here's my problem with this. I hate the way this looks on my under eyes. So this is the 4 Warm right here, and then this is the 3 Warm. So you can kind of see 4 Warm matches my skin better. 3 Warm looks better underneath my eye. The Secret Camouflage, I understand it, but it's so drying for my under eye. And it's funny because many of you guys know I'm a huge fan of Andrea Ali. And she's used this a few times in videos, and it looks so amazing on her. And I just cannot get it to look good on me. It's too drying. And it just doesn't work for me. It just, at the end of the day, Laura Mercier is a fantastic brand, and they do a great job with complexion products, but this one just kind of didn't cut it. Let's move on to, oh wait, there's one more product I kind of wanted to throw out there. This is from Makeup by Mario, and out of everything that he launched, this was about the only thing that I really loved. And this dried up so fast on me. This is just it's dried up. It's like super hard to use. I'm kind of bummed about that because it just dried up too fast. So this is the eye primer. It's a Master Eye Prep and Set. It has a 12-month shelf life, but within a few months it was dried up. And I don't really like that. I don't like how it dried up so fast. Kind of warmed it up with my finger and I kind of put it on with the brush and I was like, wait, it's not working. And I had to keep digging into it. And then my eyeshadow over top of it looked absolutely crusty and gross. So I don't know what really happened with this situation, but it dried up faster than I was expecting it to. So I did want to mention that really fast. Let's move on to face. And I got quite a few products here for the face that just were a complete hot mess. And I'm going to start with these contour bronzer duos. 99% of the time, a contour and bronzer together never really works for me. And it's because I can't get the combination right as far as the shades go. And that is exactly what happened with these. So these are from Patrick Ta, which by the way, you guys know that I'm obsessed with his blush duos. The cream and the powder together, I am obsessed. Like they are some of my favorite and I have all of the shades because I love them all, okay? But the bronzers didn't quite work out for me. It's a great idea, but I felt like there were some gaps in between. This is the She Sculpted. So this is for like medium skin tones. And then I have the She's Chiseled, which is for dark complexions. So obviously this would never work for me on any level when it comes to a bronzer because it's just too dark, right? But the contour, on the other hand, actually works quite well. It's a little teeny bit dark, but I can blend it out and it does give me a nice chiseled look. Now, when I come over to this one, which is for my complexion, it's too gray. Because I do have warm complexion, I have a warm undertone. Whenever they have these type of duos that are for a medium complexion, they're always really gray based and the gray base does not look good on my skin. So this one is also way too gray for me and I do not like the color of it. It almost makes my skin look a little dead. I mean, you can see how gray it is on my skin. So whenever it comes to a bronzer contour duo, I struggle. And I know almost right away the combination is just not going to work. The bronzer is really beautiful, but you can see it's beautiful, but it doesn't show up on my skin. I feel like there's one missing. There should be one in between these two. Because it's like this one I think probably works best for light medium skin. And then this one's for darker complexion. But I feel like there was something missing in between. I mean, I have put on the bronzer so many times and tried to really buff it in. And it just doesn't really show up on my skin. I mean, I will have to keep like putting it on. And then, you know, the problem that you run the risk when you're applying way too much bronzer, it gets muddy and looks gross. And I just, so these two have been a pass for me. And the same goes for Wayne Goss. So he launched these duos, which I think the bronzer is really beautiful. I still stand by that. The bronzer is really beautiful because it has a little bit of a highlight to it. Almost reminds me of the Hourglass bronzers where they have a little bit of that like radiance to them. But the combinations are just not good. So this one is the deep copper, which I feel like there should have been another palette after this one. I feel like this is probably more for like tan dark. But there really wasn't one. Like this is only going to work so far. This one was for medium complexions. This one is the satin bronze. And this contour is so straight up gray on my skin. It looks terrible. So again, I don't do well with bronzer contour duos because it just, most of the time, it's not going to be right. It's going to work for some. So if you have like a neutral undertone or a cool undertone, these duos may work for you. But when you have a warm undertone, it is a struggle, especially if they do the gray, because the gray undertones on my complexion just doesn't work. All right, let's move on to these hot messes from NARS. I hate these. I absolutely just do not like these. These drive me bonkers. It's so crumbly. Look at this. So like I just stuck my finger down in there and they're like a crumbly, flippin' nasty mess. Look at that. See what I'm talking about? See how crumbly they are? Ugh. So these are called the Air Matte Blushes. And boy, are they a hot mess. Okay, let me go into it. First of all, I hate digging my nail down in there and having to get it. I want to be able to dip my brush down into it and apply it, but you can't get a brush in here. You just can't. If you do, it picks it up weird. It just, for me, I did go ahead and grab like a smaller brush, and it picks it up weird because it's a dry formula. So it just doesn't work. So what I have to do is put it on the back of my hand and kind of blend it out and get the heat from my hands and my fingers and kind of get it to melt and then apply it. Here's the problem. When I do that, it always is patchy. Every single solitary time I've applied, it's patchy and it never applies beautifully. It just looks terrible. I do not like these. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like the formula. They're so drying, and same goes for the lippies, by the way. During that time, they launched a lippy that was kind of like that Air Matte. Oh, they're so drying and they're chalky. They give me like that chalky band right at the lip line. Oh, I do not like them. Okay, moving on. Let's quickly talk about this. I don't know when this was launched, but I bought this year. So this was probably not released in 2021, but I bought it in 2021. And I do not understand this product whatsoever. Even if you want something natural, just dab a little lipstick on there. This is bizarre to me. This has no color. Let me show you. So it comes in a little applicator. Now, hold on for a second though, because I love these ones. So these are the ones that they launched with the Neo Nude, okay? So this Neo Nude foundation was launched, and they launched these Neo Nude blushes. These are bomb.com. Like one of my absolute favorite cream blushes of 2021, okay? But these, they're weird. They are weird. So it comes in a little applicator, okay? And I'm like, ooh, I love the color of it. That was the reason why I bought this. I bought this because I liked the color of the Neo Nude. And it blends out to nothing. There's nothing there. So I don't know if they replaced the Neo Nude ones with these, which I hope they did. I don't even know if these are still available, but this is like bad. Bad, stupid bad. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't stay on the face. It's the weirdest product ever. Let's talk about this crazy highlighter from Anastasia Beverly Hills. What in the world was this? And let me say this. I was so excited about this because I love the Emrazy highlighter. It is still one of my absolute favorite highlighters I've ever bought. Beautiful shade, beautiful on the skin, just so universal and so flattering. And I love the Emrazy highlighter. So when I saw this and I saw the design, I was like, ooh, that's so pretty. I'm so excited. It's straight up freaking green. It is like green. It is the worst color, and it's so powdery. Check this out on the back of my finger. See how powdery that is? Don't look at the nails, but look how powdery that is. And then this is the color. It is green. Ooh, it is not. It's not pretty on my skin. It is not a pretty color on my complexion. For me personally, I feel like this color is probably best for those who have a deeper complexion, because I feel like that deeper complexion really makes this gold just shine. But if you have lighter skin, I would not touch that highlighter with a 10-foot pole. It's terrible. Oh my gosh. Okay, bad highlighter. Just bad. Let's move on to eyeshadow. I do have a few here. Okay, we're gonna first start with this. This is absolutely wah. Like, what a flippin' hot mess this is. Like, so this is the Naked Pink. And I had a few people tell me in that video, well, it's naked. Like, you should know that it's gonna be really light. So let me start this off by saying my issue with this palette is not only for the fact that it has absolutely no color, okay? Yes, it says it's a Naked Pink. I get it. It tells you what it is. I get it. So I will give that pass. I will give it a little bit of a pass that it has no flipping color. but it's hard panned. Absolutely ridiculous. You guys have heard me say this a few times. This will be the last time I talk about this palette. Well, maybe not the last, but I hate this palette. This palette pisses me off on every level because it's $89 for nothing. It is so bad. I would have rather had a cute pair of shoes and a belt to match for this crap. Like, this palette is bad. It is hard panned. Look at that shade. It's hard panned. What in the world? And Tom Ford, there's a lot of quads that I've had that issue with. And I think for the fact that this was a holiday palette is absolutely absurd. Terrible quad. Yes, I'm still sore about it. Let's talk about the Insolent Rose. We have another hard pan situation going on here. I don't recommend this palette for a few reasons. Number one, I don't like paying $89 for 4 shadows, and one of them is the light color, like a bone color. I don't like that. I think it's a waste. Because if I need a bone color to blend something out, I will go into my collection and pull out a bone color. I don't need it in a palette like this, okay? So I feel like sometimes Tom Ford does things that are not practical, but they put it in because it makes the palette look more appealing, but it's not practical, so I don't really like that. They've done that a few times. They'll throw a shade in there to make the palette look good in marketing images, but yet it's pointless to use. And that's how this color is. It's completely pointless to use, okay? That's number one. Number two, this shade right here is absolutely hard panned, and it's an ugly color. I'm just gonna say it. It's got an ugly color and base to it, and it blends out really weird, and it looks terrible. It almost makes you look like you have a black eye. It's just a bad color. I don't mind the shimmer shade in here, but I have this shade a million times over, and this matte shade is great. It's this shimmer. It's like this satin shimmer that I don't like. It's just bad. Bad, bad, bad. Same goes for Desert Fox. This, again, here we go again. So Tom Ford is notorious for this. They put a bone shade in there because it like makes the marketing images look more appealing, that there's a bone shade in there and it kind of lightens it up. Every time I've used this palette, I've hated the look that I've created with it. It looks ridiculous. Like, it's just, here's my thing. I don't like spending $89 on, like, these two shades are too similar in tone to be in one palette. Then you have this shade that is bone shade, which is completely pointless and useless. Then you have this, like, gold color that is more of a satin color, and it looks just weird with those tones. I don't understand this quad. Bad quad. Don't buy it. I don't even know if it's still available, but gosh, it's stupid. So stupid. Okay, we're going to move on to the Gucci palette. So this palette has just become my background. Like, this palette has just become a decoration more than a usable palette. I just don't like this palette. I expected something, I guess, a little bit more. It's just not my favorite. And this has absolutely no color. Like, it is the weirdest color. Like, where is it? Can't see it. Can't tell where it's at. It's just not my favorite. I don't really like this palette, and it's definitely not worth the $140 that I spent on it. So, and don't get me wrong, I did say in my video that I mostly bought it for the packaging because it did kind of remind me of my grandmother and my great-grandmother, and I kind of had this moment with it. So I use it in my background for, like, decorations back behind me, and that's just what I'm going to use it for, because the shadows, in my opinion, are just not that great. And I'll be honest with you, I was expecting more from it because I loved their bronzer. It's my favorite bronzer. And I also loved their face powder. So they have such good powders that I was really excited for the eyeshadows. And it was just not, I just don't like this palette. At the end of the day, I don't use it. I probably never will use it. And I will just keep it for decorations and decorations only. This palette, oh my gosh. This palette. This was the first kind of YSL clutch palette I've ever bought, and I don't think I'll ever buy another one. I don't get it. Oh my gosh, I don't get it. Like, this shade I was so excited to use, and I packed this sucker on like 8 times to try to get anything from it. These matte shadows, you have to build and build and build and build, and it never stays. It's one of those palettes that if you pack the color on, if you even slightly blend it, it's gone. It's one of those. If you've ever used a palette that you've put a shadow on and you go to blend it and then it kind of like disappears, you're like, what the hell? And you have to keep packing it. That's how this palette is. Exactly. Shimmer shadows are bad, but matte shadows are bad. I remember trying to use it and I'm thinking, what in the hell am I doing wrong? So I'm pulling out felt tip applicators and I'm pulling out different brushes and I'm trying to make it work and it is not working. Like I said, this is my first clutch palette, so I can't speak for all of them, but this one is, you guys, I've had ColourPop better than this. This was not worth, this is like Claire's makeup. This is like worth $5. And I spent over $100 for this palette. It's bonkers to me. I don't understand YSL. I understand it's a cute little clutch palette, which, by the way, I use them for decoration. Because, my gosh, these are super stupid expensive. And then like, pointless to use. Don't waste your money. Same goes for the Viseart Paris Love Letter palette. This has no color. But this has no color. Here's the thing. Let me say this. I've gotten a lot of slack from people. Not a lot, but I've had a few comments of people saying, it's light. Why are you criticizing a palette for being light when you can tell it's a light palette? And I get it. I completely understand that point of view. But with a good quality shadow, you should be able to build it somewhat and give you some dimension, especially when you have a dark shade over here. This shade doesn't build. It doesn't build any pigment. They're all light in tone. Every single one of these are light in tone, and this is like a medium. So there's no depth at all. If you're going to give me one shadow that's dark, at least make it have some depth to it. In my opinion, Viseart completely dropped the ball with this palette, and this is only for those who have like fair, light, maybe light medium if you like light eyeshadow. But other than that, don't even waste your money on it because it's just way too light. Moving on to these from Dior. So this is the, what are these called? These were the Summer Dunes palettes. And I just don't really love these. And I haven't really reached for them that much because I don't really love them. There's no dimension. They all look the freaking same. They all look the same. So here's the thing. I don't mind the effect that they give the eye because they kind of give you that filter look, I guess. But they all look the freaking same because they just kind of all are the same level of tone. And I think these are probably best used separately, meaning like you use other palettes with other mattes and then grab a shade from here to kind of put on the lid. I don't know. I don't really understand these palettes. They're not my favorite. I don't really love them. I wasn't really all that impressed with them when I got them. And I just don't really like them. I think these are pretty to look at. And the embossings were really kind of cool and unique. But like the embossing was gone after using it one time, which that stunk. And so they're just a waste. Yeah, I mean, I know they're limited edition. I don't think you can get them anymore. And if you didn't pick them up, you're not missing out. Let's talk about this. This is the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. And I can't make this palette work because I don't understand it. I said it in my video. And I struggle with the way that these shades are laid out. And yes, I said that I should probably like pull them out because you can rearrange them. So on the back of Natasha Denona's palettes, you can pop them with like a needle and these shades will pop out and you can kind of rearrange them, which I need to do that because the way that this palette is laid out, it's very confusing for me. And I don't really feel like none of these shadows kind of go together. And I have a very, very hard time being creative in this palette. It doesn't give me any kind of like direction. And I kind of have that like block, that creativity block when it comes to this palette. I never use it. I'm not a fan of it. And I feel like out of all of the Natasha Denona palettes I have, this one I would say is my least favorite. Well, I can't say that. I don't like the trichrome or triochrome or whatever one that was. That one was a hot mess too. Yeah, hot mess. But this I just didn't like. I don't like the shades. I don't like the way they're arranged. It's just, it's a weird palette. It's a weird palette that I just can't pull together. So there you go. So this is from Westman Atelier, and these are the iPods, and it comes in 3. And I don't remember. Oh, I got the shades Tabac, Nage, and Chocolate. I don't know. But anyway, these are not only hard to use because the packaging is so small, it's hard if you wear nails. Now, if you don't wear nails, you can dip your finger in there, okay? But if you wear nails, you can't get your finger in there. So the nail kind of stops it, okay? That's number 1. But number 2, even if you can get your fingernail down in there, the pigments are not good. They're more of a cream formula. This is the color combination. So you got the light one, you've got one that's kind of like a purpley kind of chocolate color, and then you have one that's kind of like a satin beige kind of color. Let me show you how much pigment you get with these. I have to dig so hard to get any pigment. They're just not pretty. I mean, look at this. Nothing, okay? This one is the darkest of the 3, and I'm gonna go in with the brush, and I don't get any pigment, okay? I'm gonna go in one more time, okay? They're just really, really, really not good. Even if I use like a stiff brush, so let me switch and let me grab a stiff brush. So this is the BK Beauty 206. And I'm going to dip into this light one right here. It's like really hard to get pigment. Okay, hold on. Let me dip into, I'm going to take this stiff brush, okay? And I'm going to go into the dark one, okay? So I got the dark one here. See how you have to, like, they're hard to use. They don't have much pigment. This is not worth it. So anyway, I'm going to move on to a few mascaras, and then we'll move on to a few lippies, and we're done. Okay, I got these 3 mascaras right here. I don't think the Tom Ford was launched in 2021, but I got it in 2021 because I bought it with like a palette kind of duo during the Nordstrom's anniversary sale. This mascara is just bad. So this is called the Extreme Mascara. And here's the thing that I don't like about it. It hardens so fast. Like, it doesn't give you time to kind of fluff and like plump the eyelashes. It hardens and like becomes kind of spider-legging and kind of crispy, and then it kind of flakes throughout the day. Just not my favorite mascara, especially for how much it is. I don't like it. Same goes for the Unlocked mascara from Hourglass. This mascara hardens my eyelashes and they become very crispy. And I do not like that crispy like mascara look. I wouldn't say that this one smudges. I don't feel like it smudges on me, but it makes my eyelashes kind of crispy and like they don't, I like my mascara to be a little fluffy versus like fuller versus just like full blown, you know. So this is not my favorite either. Here's the thing about the Patrick Ta. So this one is the Patrick Ta Major Volume Mascara. I like this mascara, but it smudges. So I like the way that this mascara doesn't, you know, it fluffs and kind of gives you that fullness without being hard and crispy, but it smudges all day long. It'll kind of flake, and I'll have mascara falling down here. I'll have mascara up in here. So I like the actual formula. I like the wand, but it's a smudger, and I don't like that part about it. Let's move on to lippies. I have bought a few lippies that I didn't really like, but these I just do not like. So I wanted to kind of narrow it down to the ones that I absolutely do not like and do not recommend. So I got to first talk about these from Victoria Beckham Beauty. I have another one somewhere. I don't know. Oh, here it is right here. So as many of you guys know, I fell in love with these, especially the shade Posh. I love her little lipsticks. These are fantastic. So because I love them so much, I decided to buy the lip tints. So these are called the Bitten Lip Tints, and they have them in all multiple shades, and all my stickers are off the 2. So I don't even know what shades they are. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. These don't really work that good. and they're not really a very good lip tint. They don't really give you that much color. So this is the lip tint. This is one of them. And you kind of blend it out and it blends to nothing. Like it's gone. It does not tint your lips. So I have had a hard time understanding what this lip tint actually is. And when I ordered it, I ordered 3 shades because I loved the lippy so much and I loved the lip liner so much that I was like, ooh, I want to try that and I want to try all 3 of those shades. So I bought all 3 shades and they are completely pointless. I have layered it and layered it and layered it and layered it. And if you apply it like 5 or 6 times, you will probably finally get a little bit of tint. But these are definitely just absolutely pointless and not a good product. Let's talk about these. Now, these are not like a bad product, horrible packaging. Absolute, you guys have heard me talk about the packaging on these before, but I hate the packaging on these, so I'm going to talk about it. I hate the packaging. Oh, it drives me crazy. So this is what will happen. See how it comes out of alignment? Come on, camera. See how it comes out of alignment? When I apply these, I have to think too much. I have to make sure that it's lined up directly with the thing. And as I'm unscrewing them and screwing them back in, they come out of alignment and it drives me bonkers. I don't like the packaging on these, but it's sad because the product is a really good matte product. It's got a really nice, velvety kind of texture to it, very long lasting, but yet hydrating. They're much more mattifying than her matte lipsticks, but the packaging, bonkers, drives me bonkers, stupid. This is what happens. This completely comes off, and then I line it up, and I'm like, okay, ooh, I have to think too much. When you throw something in your purse, and you're driving down the freeway, and you grab your lipstick, and you're putting it on, you can't think about it, whether it's in alignment or not. Who wants to do that? So no, these are a pass for me. Such a bummer because the packaging is super freaking cute, but no. The last product I want to talk about is from Hourglass. This is the Hourglass Curator, whatever palette. I don't think I really need to go into how I feel about it. I made it abundantly clear in that video how horribly packaged. I actually shipped that palette back. I don't have it in stock anymore. What a terrible palette that was. So expensive. Those single eyeshadows are $29 per gram. Are you flipping kidding me? Those shadows are nice, but they're not worth $30 a gram. Come on now. The palette was ridiculous. It was like a lunchbox, tin can. I don't even know what the hell they were thinking when they created that. And I don't know that they've got a lot of people liking it. I haven't really heard a lot of positivity about it. I feel like my thoughts were kind of everyone else's. Like maybe there was a few that kind of gave him a pass. I didn't give him a pass. I thought it was stupid and terrible. So I wanted to mention that. I also wanted to talk about the Tatcha Silk Powder. I don't have it because I gave it to a friend for her to try. That powder is bad. I don't know what is in that Tatcha Silk Powder, but I really liked the Tatcha Silk Canvas, and I love Tatcha skincare. It's just great skincare. And so I was really excited to try their powder, and it's bad. It's so bad. It like dries my skin out and makes me look older. It's kind of reminds me of the By Terry Hyaluronic Hydra Powder, where it's so crazy finely milled that it just like dries my skin out. I don't like the feeling of it. I don't like the texture of it. I don't like the way it looks on my skin. Not my favorite powder. I think that's all I have written down because I know there was a few things that I don't have anymore that I wanted to talk about. Anyways, that's it, you guys. That's the list. I'm sure there's more, but these are the ones that kind of stuck out in my head. Sound out down below in the comments section. Any of the products I discussed in today's video, do you like them? Do you not like them? Let's just have a conversation. Again, it is nothing personal about the brand. It's nothing personal towards the person. It's just a product that didn't work for me. And that at the end of the day is what it is, right? So sound out down below in the comments section. Let us know your thoughts. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in today's video. I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Love you. Bye.